Welcome to this 20-ounce tumbler mock-up for engravers instruction video. What you should see when you open the file is the tumbler and this timeline. If you don't see the timeline, go to Windows, Timeline, and ensure that's ticked. Okay, to get the design on, double-click Step 1 in the layer stack here. See there? Double-click that Smart Object thumbnail. This is a pass-through section. You don't actually do anything here. All you got to do here is double-click the Smart Object, Step 2. So do that. Here's the design. So to get yours on there, just go to File, Place Embedded, and then locate your designs, and then place. Once you're on there, just position it as required. Make sure it fits and expands to the areas you want to cover. The only thing I'd mention is it relies on a PNG with a transparent background, which I understand most engraving software produces. And it needs to be black, because to get the full exposure of the etched areas, full black is needed. If your design isn't black, you can always select the layer once you've placed it and go blending options, color overlay, normal, make that full black. So if you experience anything weird looking on the final blend, it's probably because you haven't got it black. So once you're happy with everything, close this and say yes. It's important to say yes there. Close this one, say yes here. And there you should see your design in place with the etched areas coming through in silver. If you drag this scrubber across, you can see a preview of how things are looking. Now if it all looks good, go to this little burger menu and say render video. It's probably best to stick with these defaults, but you can change them if you know what you're doing, and might want to switch to QuickTime if you're on Mac. Really all you need to do here is give it a name and select the folder where you want to save it, and when you're happy, just click render. And then depending on the speed of your machine, it could take anything from a minute to a few minutes. You can change the background if you want. Just double click the background, go File, Place Embedded, drop in your background. Inside this tumbler folder, there are a few things you can play around with. The color of the tumbler one is one of those. You just double click this color overlay, change that to whatever you want. If you want to switch from a matte finish to a glossy, you can do that by double clicking reflections and turning off the matte to reveal the reflection high underneath. So that's one thing. Or you can do a mixture. If you change the opacity level, you could say just bring in some reflections, slightly more reflections, so that's something for you to have a go at. There are two levels of the metal, so you can switch from one to the other. There's a shadow option. You can turn that on and off. I think that's pretty much everything. Just going back to one thing I often get asked is, once you've placed your design on there, how do you get rid of this? So imagine you've dropped on your design. Just duplicate that, just do it. Sorry. So imagine you've just dropped on your design here. So your design's over the top. And you just want to get rid of whatever my holding text underneath. Just drag it into the bin. And then sort out your design positioning and say yes. And I think that's all there is to talk about.